I'm not just MAGA, I'm Darth MAGA.
My sole and exclusive mission is to go to work for our country, to go to work for you. It's time to deliver a victory for the American people. We don't win anymore, but we are going to start winning again.
I'm not just MAGA, I'm Gothic MAGA.
From mountain to mountain, from ocean to ocean, hear these words. You will never be ignored again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
Trump's house, brother.
I will always give you my love. America is a nation of believers, dreamers, and strivers. We will bring back our jobs. We will bring back our borders. We will bring back our wealth. And we will bring back our dreams. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
EWBSX, the Cyber Bully.
Radio for our guys.
So much, you may even get tired of winning, and you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
Welcome, everyone, to the ASTROLABE. It is happening. It is here. I am here. The migraine did return with a vengeance. I've been working it out all afternoon, and I actually thought I was gonna get going a little bit earlier, but then let's just say Eastwood needed some attention. So I had a little extra time spent with family. But I'm here now. It is ASTROLABE night. The Pseudolabe man is in the chat. We're gonna have a great one. This wave, I think it's the longest one yet. and he promises it's going to be very schizo, emotional, the never-ending legend. So let me turn my heater down just a little bit on my back. That was a nice fun pre-show. Bangers only in the pre-show. Shout out to Georgie Castrati, who has returned. You know, it's funny. Last night, I don't remember what it was, but for some reason, I thought of you last night after the show, and I was like, man, I wonder where that guy's been. I haven't seen him in a little while. And lo and behold, he shows up today, and early on in the pre-show, he gets the gifted sub. Shout out to Barndon with the gifted sub, and congratulations, Mr. Georgie Castrati, getting the sub. Also, what was the other thing I was going to mention? Oh, Bobby Ballbags. I see you're in the chat here now. You showed up finally. Heard a rumor that you've been engaged in Patriot activities. Apparently, you were Christ pilling some atheist shitlib. Congratulations to that guy. Well done, Patriot. Good for you, man. And then Gave TBH shows up with 5 gifted subs. One, his first one it says was to Dr. J. I'm pretty sure that's the guy that I banned last night because it was last night or the night before because he was spamming. He was misbehaving, but he got himself a gifted sub. Omega Gamma, Saul Goodman, Fortuna, and Devil Doodle. Congratulations to you guys. How about an Erica for you guys?
Auf der Heide blüht ein kleines Blümelein. Und das heißt Erika.
And then, of course, anytime the gayest man in the world shows up, we've got to play him his own special drop.
You know, Dave Johnson is the gayest person to ever walk this green earth.
So true, Mr. President, so true. We love the gayest man to ever walk this green earth. Mr. Dave Johnson, thank you, my friend. Thank you for your support of the show. One of the Labe's greatest supporters. Also, thank you, Superior B. I saw you said happy birthday. Thank you for that. I appreciate you, man. Speaking of my birthday, I'm going to give you guys just a little tease here because I don't think it's going to show up super well like this. But my wonderful wife, Mrs. Kingpilled in the chat there, she got me this. So let me see if I can get it positioned just right so you guys could see it. The End the Wokeness Trump calendar. That is our president on the very front. See if I can get a little closer. Does that make it any better? What if I do that? Is that? Yeah, there you go, right like that. The images in it are so good. I'm going to go through and take a bunch of pictures of them and I'll post them so I can share them up on the screen. Fantastic. I'm going to see if I can maybe hang it back behind me here. I don't know if it's going to show up well enough exactly what it is, but we'll see. The Patriot wife, indeed. So yeah, I'll get some pictures of that and make sure you don't miss the Monday Lave because I'll share some of the images of it. And also, I will have an update from Cooper. He finally had his surgery, and he looks rough. that surgeon fucked him up pretty good. He's got a big old fat, meaty looking purple eye that's going to take a little while to heal. Which is a reminder, if you have not contributed to Cooper's Gifts and Go, go to my pinned tweet on X at Kingpilled, and go contribute to his Gifts and Go. He got the mass removed from behind his eye. Yet to be determined exactly what it is. They're gonna do some testing on it, and he said he's hoping to hear back within the next few days. But the Cooper Brooks family does need our support to deal with the missed time away from work and all the medical bills and all the stuff associated with this whole process. If you don't know, he got in a car accident and car was totaled. And then went to get checked out just to make sure everything was okay. And when he had the MRI done, it revealed a small mass behind his eye. So he had surgery, had it removed, and now he's going through the recovery process, and he's going to have some enormous bills for that. So you guys have been incredibly generous so far. He's got his Gifts and Go. The link is in my pinned tweet if you would like to contribute to our young king of the Zoomers. All right, so I've got a little. I just got a little bit of a pre-pseudo-wave, couple of things to talk about here. Very first of all, let me make sure I got my. You guys can provide me my source of income here, Make More Erickson's Fund. If you are enjoying what you see here, then please do remember to tip your streamer. Link is pinned in the chat. And if the Streamlabs link doesn't work for you for some reason, you can also just go to Kingpilled, at Kingpilled on both Cash App and Venmo. Thank you, Nevsky. 50 kicks. I think you sent some, someone sent some kicks earlier too. I think, was that you? Yeah, 50 kicks earlier. Skull emojis. Neat. Hey, there's Slutty Milk. We were wondering where you were. That was one of the first, I think that was one of the first Labe intros in a long time where we didn't get the Mr. President, I need more. Slutty Milk's in the chat. All right. So, hold on a second. Let me just clear out some of these notifications here so that I notice if anything else comes in. And first and foremost, I've talked to you guys about Outdoor Boys in the past. And here is an example of just how incredibly wholesome these guys are. One of the coolest things that you'll ever see online. This guy does the whole explanation himself, so I'm just gonna hop to it.
Incredible and kindest things I've ever seen on the internet happen this weekend, and I wanted to share it with you because it's truly heartwarming and amazing. If you don't know who this is Luke Nichols of the Outdoor Boys YouTube channel. Long story short, he's the man. He's amassed 18 million subscribers on YouTube through his intense winter camping videos in Alaska. We'll go camping at negative degrees with no tent and no sleeping bag. Videos are awesome. Earlier this year, Luke retired from YouTube. He's a family man, and with the heightened popularity from the videos, he wanted to take a step back so he could raise his kids and give them a normal life. This weekend, a video was posted to the My Life Outdoors YouTube channel. Myself and many other people had never heard of this YouTube channel before. But yesterday, it popped up on my recommended on YouTube. Why? Because it was a video from Luke and the Outdoor Boys. Why would he post a video on an account that wasn't his? The account My Life Outdoors is ran by a man named Steven. It's a pretty popular account. It has like 500,000 subscribers. Nowhere near as big as Outdoor Boys. Steven recently made a video where he talked about how his wife was diagnosed with cancer and how he would be taking a step back from taking videos and posting less so he could take care of his 4 children and help his wife. Luke and the Outdoor Boys heard about what happened. So to help lessen the burden on Steven, Luke offered to come out of retirement knowing that 18 million people were waiting for a video from him. And instead of posting the video on his own account, he gave the video to Steven, knowing that Steven would then not have to make a video, that it would likely boost the popularity of Steven's account. And while it's not confirmed in the video, by posting the video on Steven's account, he likely is getting the AdSense from the YouTube video. Now let's break this down a little bit further. My Life Outdoors gets an average of hundreds of thousands of views. The Outdoor Boys get an average of tens of millions of views. In one day is just shy of 5 million views and is on track to be by far the largest video on Steven's account this year. Steven's channel has grown hundreds of thousands of subscribers. The AdSense from the video alone could be tens of thousands of dollars, maybe even $100,000, depending upon how many views it gets. I mean, it's one day, it's already at 5 million. Luke came out of retirement to help a family going through a hard time dealing with a cancer diagnosis and help them both with peace of mind, just not having to make a video this month, as well as the potential financial aspect of this. Which again, is just one of the more selfless things I've seen on the internet in a long time. Love when people are nice to each other. Nice work, Outdoor Boys. One of the most...
Outdoor Boys, Luke at Outdoor Boys is an American patriot. He is an icon, one of the greatest Americans. He is a Mormon. And this is the thing, like, I don't think I've ever known a Mormon who wasn't one of the most wholesome, give you the shirt off their back types of people you've ever seen. Extremely pro-natalist people. Very, very good, very, very good people. Obviously I am not Mormon, and there's a lot of good reasons for that, but Mormons are fantastic. Outdoor Boys this is not just like a kids entertainment channel. My son loves watching Outdoor Boys. This is one of our favorite pastimes together. Is we just sit and watch Outdoor Boys content. But it's very entertaining for adults as well. So if you're looking for a little something to pass the time, especially it's really good for if you're like doing something else and you just want a little something playing in the background that you don't have to pay a ton of attention to. It's very good for that. And actually, he did technically you know, little qualification to this. Technically, he did retire, but he has been periodically uploading videos because they've got a homestead up in Alaska that he's overhauling, clearing out, dealing with all the different issues of navigating around the weather, and he's got all of his different pieces of machinery and stuff, driving into town and getting supplies and coming back out, and he just takes GoPro with him everywhere he goes. And it's very wholesome. It's very, very zen to just kind of sit there and watch it. So he has been posting those. He posted a few of them just recently. But for several years there, he was posting a new video every single Saturday. And, you know, these videos are, you know, he goes out into the woods and spends the night with no tent for a night in the snow. And so he's got to do like all the preparation for the trip, getting all of his gear ready to go and everything, and then go on the trip and record everything while he's doing it. Come back, unpack all of his gear, put it all out to dry or drain or get cleaned or what have you, and then sit down and edit the video together. And he was doing one every single Saturday for years. So it got to the point where he's some sort of like corporate attorney or something like that, and the channel was making way more money than he could ever make in his own private practice. Yeah, go watch the Outdoor Boys, man. At least go support the channel. And when this video dropped, it was actually he dropped it in the morning, and it was a day that Eastwood and I were going to sit down for a couple hours and watch some Outdoor Boys together. So we watched that video when it had just a few tens of thousands of views on it, and obviously the views spiked big time. My wife says he had a backlog of content he said he'd post if he felt like editing it. It was those 3 videos. We'll see if we get anything in 2026. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, it was like 3 videos that covered basically the entire summer. So, you know, it was like 5 minutes was dedicated to each day as he was fixing up their shed and dealing with drainage issues on the property and cutting down trees. And the dude's incredibly resourceful and just brilliant. It's extremely wholesome dad-son content if you're looking for some of that. Okay, so if you guys listened to the Labe last night, if you stayed through all the way to the very end, you heard about Trump's new national security strategy. I read the entire document. It was very, very good. And today, we've got a video from the Promethean Action Ladies going into some of the details on it. And then we're going to talk about a certain thing that's happening right now where the United States government and European governments are beginning to find themselves even more at loggerheads with one another. So we'll get to that here in just a second. But first of all, we're going to watch this video from, I think this is a Barbara Boyd one, from Promethean Action. Trump's national security strategy just exploded 34 years of globalist policy. Worker-first economics now drives defense. Europe is warned of civilizational erasure. Our hemisphere is the new priority. No more endless foreign wars. Why the establishment is panicking. And I just got to say, it does my heart good to see our great MAGA grandmas doing so well with these videos. Some of the ones that they've posted recently have gotten well over 1 million views, which is crazy because when I first started watching them just a few months ago, they were, you know, like if they got 40,000 views on one video, they were doing really well. Now this video's been out for like 7 hours at 40,000 views, so it'll probably get a few hundred. And let's hear what they have to say.
Very, very early Friday morning, a document with the plainest of colors was posted on the White House website.
Remarkably, the gathering of world leaders is happening the morning after. This explosive 33-page document was quietly released by the White House. In the pages, a warning for Europe, saying Europeans face civilization erasure. Those words found in the president's national security strategy he's branded as, quote, a roadmap to ensure America remains the greatest and most successful nation in human history and the home of freedom on earth.
But inside was a revolution which exploded 34 years of globalist foreign policy dating from the collapse of the Soviet Union. Here's how Canada's Global News described it.
We have a government that has given unlimited funding to the defense of foreign borders.
Donald Trump made it clear the United States foreign policy would change. On Friday, the White House unveiled its new national security strategy. For decades, the U.S. was the hub in the wheel of international security and trade. The new strategy says the days of the U.S. propping up the entire world order like Atlas are over, that the affairs of other countries are U.S. concerns only if their activities directly threaten American interests, and the U.S. will enforce the Monroe Doctrine to restore its preeminence in the Western Hemisphere.
It made the Washington establishment and their allies in the city of London, Paris, and Brussels very, very angry and very paranoid. Both the Financial Times and the London Guardian thought the document meant the United States was about to launch a color revolution against the UK and the EU.
yeah, that's what's going to happen. Augustine says, I almost finished yet last night's episode. Substack and YouTube had a portion cut out, I think. Am I wrong? They shouldn't. I mean, they don't have the pre-show on it. The pre-show you're only going to get on Kick. But YouTube and Substack shouldn't have anything cut out. I just went and checked on YouTube, and it's a 5-hour-long video. And I went for about 5 hours. So I don't think anything's cut out. It should be normal, but let me know. What's up, T-Con?
That might not be a bad idea, but that's not what's in the document. The hysterical...
Did she just say it might not be a bad idea to do a color revolution in Europe?
The Times and the London Guardian thought the document meant the United States was about to launch a color revolution against the UK and the EU. That might not be a bad idea, but that's not what's in the document. The hysterical New York Times said it was both racist and white nationalist. Nothing could be further from the truth. I mean, those who believe Trump is run by Israel or that America first means complete...
What's kind of funny is, she's like, no, it's not racist or white nationalist. And yet, if you're a racist or a white nationalist, you probably like that more than just about any other document that's been produced by the U.S. government in a very, very long time. And that's the thing, is like, being a racist or a white nationalist is not some sort of like really scary, horrifying, awful thing. We've been conditioned to think of it that way, but everyone is racist. Everyone is. You've just been bludgeoned into not behaving, like not, doing no racist thoughts, no bad. But it's only white people who are obligated to behave that way. No one else is. So being racist is actually just being a normal person. So a document that accurately reflects reality and reflects things like Europe is for Europeans is racist. Yes, it is racist, and that's a good thing. White nationalism, the idea that there are white nations that are predominantly for white people, and that those white people ought to be nationalists with respect to their homelands. This is actually incredibly normal. This is the way human beings have been for their own homelands for forever. It's natural. It's normal. Being a white nationalist doesn't mean that you are you're more predisposed to violence or wanting to see people killed and abused, and this is a conflation that's been done. So, she's like, oh, no, it's not racist to white nationalism. I mean, actually, it kind of is. That's kind of the point. It's moving much more closely to reality. Slosher!
The definition of a word is how it's applied. Racist is just an anti-white slur.
Yeah, good point, yeah. The way that racist gets used is really just an anti-white slur. That's exactly what it is. And so, in the same way that you'll have there are some black guys who will just embrace it. They'll just embrace the N-word.
The N-word!
I'm just going to embrace racist. Yeah, that's right. I'm racist. So, I'm more than happy to live peaceably around non-white people as long as they recognize that they live in a white country that's going to be operated according to the principles and values of predominantly white Christian people who were once descended from Europe but are now established as Americans. This is a white country for white people. Non-white people can be here. There are non-white people who have been here for generations, who this is their homeland just as much as any other, but they're the minority. It just is what it is. Georgie says, some of my most favorite racist conversations were with blacks. Yes. When you can actually speak plainly about this stuff with blacks or Italians or Mexicans or Puerto Ricans or Dominicans or whatever, when you can just openly and plainly talk about this, that's actually much more peaceful and collaborative and stable of an environment. It would be better if more people were racist, not in the anti-white slur sense, where to be racist is to be overly predisposed to violence or whatever. But it would be better if more people were just realistic about race.
Isolation from the rest of the world or total disarmament. Listen up, Tucker and MTG.
Uh-oh.
This document shows how very little you know
Shots
about
fired.
our present world or President Donald Trump.
Welcome to the gulag.
The document says
If you
that Donald
survive,
Trump's
you earn
worker
your
first,
freedom.
America first, economic policy.
Thank you, Living Dead, for resubscribing over on Kick. You guys are great. I haven't said this in a little while, so for anyone who's just new to Kick, one of the great things about subscriptions on Kick versus YouTube is that YouTube takes at least 30% of the subscription amount every month, whereas Kick only takes 5%. So it's much better, and the payouts are also a lot quicker as well. So I've noticed with YouTube, you have to get over $100 in a month, and then the month ends, and you get paid out on like the 21st, 22nd, or 23rd of the following month. Whereas with Kick, you get paid on the 1st or the 2nd of the next month. So they only take 5% versus 30 plus, and they pay you out immediately at the end of the month. Kick is just so much better. Ticon says Italians are Ashkenazi, allegedly. I did see that it was, I think it was the other way, I guess kind of the same thing. It was the other way around, that Ashkenazi, people were doing studies on the gene history of Ashkenazis, and they're descended from Rome primarily, which is kind of interesting, that the modern day Jews are actually Romans. Wouldn't that be funny?
Policy is now the foundation and focus of all of our national security policy. I'm Barbara Boyd, and I followed the coup conducted by the modern British financial empire against Donald Trump ever since 2016. The policies in this document are why they tried to overthrow his 2016 election, succeeded in doing that in 2020, tried to jail him for life in 4 criminal cases, and have tried to kill him twice so far. It's also why there is such a massive operation right now to splinter the MAGA coalition, which won in 2024. Our enemies knew this was coming for months. Today, I'm going to tell you more about the key parts of this new strategy. I think it will shock and surprise you. Then I'm going to say more about the crazy criticisms of the Europeans and the globalist elites. Finally, I'm going to...
My wife says Matt's a WAP, confirmed. Yes, I think it's 0.06 WAP. This is what 23andMe told me like 8 years ago, at least, that I'm 0.06% Ashkenazi. So I guess I'm 0.06% WAP.
show you that the Middle East, Russia, and China are no longer first on America's foreign intervention agenda, as they have been for decades. Instead, Trump is looking for major economic deals with these areas of the world for our benefit, the benefit of Americans. He's gone to war, however, with the drug and human trafficking cartels in our own hemisphere and the financiers because they are poisoning our people. But before we dig in, please like and share this video. It increases our reach on YouTube. Now, to entice you to read the whole strategy, which you have to do.
You know, it kind of stands to reason that if you have drugs and human traffickers, drug traffickers and human traffickers, then as those scale up, you're talking about enormous sums of money having to be moved back and forth. So it's kind of inevitable that transnational financial organizations and the organized crime trafficking networks are going to become basically one and the same. There's a natural partnership there, that they're naturally going to fall into cooperation and collaboration with each other.
Please like and share this video. It increases our reach on YouTube. Now, to entice you to read the whole strategy, which you have to do, I'll give you some of my favorite quotes. Let's begin with this one. After the end of the Cold War, American foreign policy elites convinced themselves that permanent American domination of the entire world was in the best interests of our country. Yet the affairs of other countries are our concern only if their activities threaten our interests. They placed hugely misguided and destructive bets on globalism and so-called free trade that hollowed out the very middle class and industrial base on which American economic and military preeminence depend.
I just got to say, when I read through this last night, I highlighted this, but I got to say it again. Saying they placed hugely misguided and destructive bets on globalism, if they had just said they placed hugely misguided and destructive bets on globalism and free trade that hollowed out the very middle class and industrial base, yada yada yada, like that alone would have been like, whoa, this is based. I like this. But they said so-called free trade. These are little things that when someone includes that, it shows that they're calling into question the very notion, the very premise of free trade just on its face. This is a recognition of that it's like how am I trying to say what I'm thinking here? This means that whoever wrote this is not opposed to free trade because of some sort of like knee-jerk thing, but they actually genuinely understand what free trade is and why it's bad, which really is only represented in a very small segment of the population. The majority of the population has been conditioned to see free trade as good, and the majority of the educated, elite political class just treats free trade like capitalism or whatever, that it's just an unquestioned, obvious good. You have to get into some pretty unique circles in the world to even hold this position in the first place, so-called free trade.
And they lashed American policy to a network of international institutions, some of which are driven by outright anti-Americanism and many by a transnationalism that explicitly seeks to dissolve individual nation-state sovereignty. But protecting the people of the United States is the Constitution's mandate. That means protecting them from military attack and hostile foreign influence, whether espionage, predatory trade practices, drug and human trafficking, destructive propaganda and influence operations, cultural subversion, or any other threat to our nation. That's what the document says. It means strictly controlled immigration, a dominant military, and a Golden Dome missile defense system protecting us from nuclear annihilation.
The Golden Dome!
It also means building new physical infrastructure domestically against natural disasters. All of this, not the usual expert bloviating justifying millions spent and many lives lost battling ever new enemies, is in the strategy.
Imagine getting just absolutely cooked by this sweet old grandma, calling you an expert bloviator.
And none of this is possible without having the strongest, most dynamic, and most advanced economy. That means being the most advanced scientific and technological power in the world. Over and over again, the document returns to the task of rebuilding our economy and claiming our sovereignty as the essential task of national defense. We have to reshore major industries, critical supply chains, and our defense industrial base, and create energy dominance in advanced fossil fuel and nuclear systems. Climate, a main threat under Biden, is nowhere to be found. We also have to restore our cultural health. Here's another favorite quote of mine. We want an America that cherishes its past glories and its heroes, and that looks forward to a new golden age. We want a people who are proud, happy, and optimistic that they will leave their country to the next generation better than they found it.
Listen to this segment here. When have you ever heard rhetoric like this out of the United States federal government? Everything in this paragraph that she reads here. Just listen to this and realize this is not coming from some think tank or something like that. This is coming straight out of the federal government.
Health. Here's another favorite quote of mine. We want an America that cherishes its past glories and its heroes, and that looks forward to a new golden age. We want a people who are proud, happy, and optimistic that they will leave their country to the next generation better than they found it. We want a gainfully employed citizenry with no one sitting on the sidelines who takes satisfaction from knowing that their work is essential to the prosperity of our nation and to the well-being of individuals and families. This cannot be accomplished without growing numbers of strong, traditional families that raise healthy children.
This cannot be accomplished without growing numbers of strong, traditional families that raise healthy children. This is part of the formal Declaration of National Security Strategy from the United States federal government. I don't care what else is going on. We need to protect and insulate and promote every last little bit of this. This cannot be allowed to slip away outside of the priority stack of the federal government. This is the best thing that I've heard in my life from the federal government. Yeah, 14 words with a few more words. That's essentially what it is, yes.
And listed among the doctrine's key national security principles is something that I'm quite sure has never been in a document of this type. Pro-American worker. American policy will be pro-worker, not merely pro-growth, and it will prioritize our own workers.
This is another example of this. American policy will be pro-worker, not merely pro-growth. Just including this little phrase between the commas here. Not merely pro-growth. This reveals a level of sophistication and understanding here that transcends the dialectic. Usually you're either going to get pro-worker, pro-labor, socialist, commie pablum on one hand, or you're going to get GDP nationalism, GDP internationalism, number go up, just like corporate propaganda. But it will be pro-worker, not merely pro-growth. Meaning, growth is a priority. We're not going to be a bunch of commies. We still want to optimize for growth, but we want to optimize for growth that is centered in and centered in the worker, the American worker, and ensures that the American worker benefits primarily from that growth. It's going to be growth engineered through the American worker. Yeah, Living Dead, when is the last time any admin countersignaled big line go up? That's exactly what this is. I think that's kind of what I was getting at with the other thing about the so-called free trade, is that these are little phrases that indicate whoever wrote this is well aware of these gay dialectics, where it's like worker versus capital, or free trade versus socialism. And these are stupid, gay, false dichotomies.
We must rebuild an economy in which prosperity is broadly based and widely shared, not concentrated at the top or localized in certain industries or a few parts of our country. Along with that is what is called a predisposition against entanglement.
So you might say, it's broadly based in prosperity that is broadly based and widely shared, that is pro-American worker. You almost might say that it's some kind of nationalism, but that it's also a socialized form of nationalism. You know, we've got strong borders. Everything we do is for America and American interests first, elevating the American worker, almost like it's like a workers' party of sorts. So it's a socially nationalized economy built around workers. I wonder if there's any words that we could use for this.
Along with that is what is called a predisposition against entanglement in any foreign affairs, as stated in the Declaration of Independence. But the conditions in our hemisphere, which give rise to mass migration and the drug and human trafficking cartels, and which involve entanglements with hostile foreign interests right on our shores, require our intervention. That's what's going on now. As the president said in a late-night post on Friday, I am trying to stop the poisoning of our nation. Or, as Vice President Vance put it, we've been told for decades the U.S. military must go everywhere and do the impossible all over the world. But the red line for President Washington is using the military to destroy narco-terrorists in our own hemisphere. Our own hemisphere is the new defense and foreign policy priority. That change is called the Trump correlate to the original Monroe Doctrine.
Ooh, we got some legs to this one. The social nationalist Republicans? Sonar party? We might need to workshop this one a little bit. I think there's some legs to it. Yeah, she has a Tweety Bird speech impediment that's super adorable. Yeah, Yeah, I don't know if she's like missing her top teeth or something like that, but she works really hard to pronounce things, and every once in a while she has this little lisp that's very charming. What did Kalamrosh say here? I abandoned free trade as soon as I realized the only way it works is if there's free movement of people. Yes, right. That's where you realize free trade. If every asset must be able to move freely, that means people must be able to move freely, which means free trade is antithetical to national borders. That should make you reconsider where free trade came from in the first place and what the motivations were for the introduction of so-called free trade. Kalmar says, if we stop providing welfare for every brown in the world, I have no problem giving a strong social safety net. Right. And here's the thing. Like, if, right now, you still probably couldn't really get away with having a party, with it calling the party, like the National American Workers' Party or something like that, National Socialist American Workers' Party. You couldn't quite get away with that just yet. But the more we go down this road, pretty soon you start to realize, hold on a second, this platform is basically the same as the mid-century Germans' platform. And you can look at that as like, oh no, the Nazis are rising. Or you can look at it retrospectively and be like, wait a second. Their platform was actually very reasonable. It was actually a primary reason why they reindustrialized so quickly to the point where one little country could take on all these other countries at the same time. And it starts unwinding some of that conditioning.
Ending foreign wars, which could, in the modern transportation world, land very quickly on our shores or become nuclear, is also a core principle, including, most emphatically, ending the current war between Europe, Ukraine, and Russia. Now, so why is Europe so hysterical? In a word, Europe has devolved into an Orwellian hellhole. Just Friday, the European Union fined X $140 million because Elon Musk refuses to ban free speech. European dissidents...
We're going to talk about this more in just a minute.
...are now regularly jailed for thought crimes. Their leaders describe unregulated speech as the biggest national security threat. Here is the paragraph from the document which has the Europeans squealing. Europe's economic decline is eclipsed by the real and more stark prospect of civilizational erasure. The larger issues facing Europe include activities of the European Union and other transnational bodies that undermine political liberty and sovereignty.
Civilizational erasure, like even talking in these terms, was unheard of, was completely verboten less than a decade ago. And now you've got the United States State Department talking about civilizational erasure in Europe.
Migration policies that are transforming the continent and creating strife, censorship of free speech and suppression of political opposition, cratering birth rates, and loss of national identities and self-confidence. Should present trends continue, the continent will be unrecognizable in 20 years or less. We want Europe to remain European.
We want Europe to remain European. Yeah, Trust Plansar, this is the most white nationalist point there is in the whole document without saying it explicitly. And I gotta say, major hat tip to the authors of this, being able to delineate these points in the language, kind of the lingua franca of the political class.
To regain its civilizational self-confidence and to abandon its failed focus on regulatory supplication. In otherwise, the document says we should foster resistance to Europe's march to national suicide. Now, you won't find this document covered fully and truthfully hardly anywhere else. That's why you should subscribe to our newsletter if you haven't already.
You got to subscribe to Promethean Action. You also got to make sure you listen to the Astrolabe because you heard it here as well. Not only did you get it covered, I read every single word of it last night on the episode. So make sure that you're following the show everywhere. YouTube, Kick, follow me on Twitter @KingPilled, and share the show with people. Help them know. And if you're listening to the podcast version of this later on, then please do leave me a 5-star rating and review to help us with the algorithm.
The link is in the description. Now, because of what Donald Trump has done in establishing peace in the Middle East and opening relations with Russia, those areas of the world are no longer the central preoccupation of American security policy as they have been for decades. The emphasis is on maintaining the peace and garnering economic deals favorable to American citizens. It is a fundamental national interest of the United States, the document says, that the war between Europe, Ukraine, and Russia ends. We're not going to war with China. Rather, we have to de-risk our economic relationship with China through reshoring and fair and reciprocal trade deals. And we have to outpace China in an economic competition while protecting our trade relationships and trade routes with other Asian countries. This policy was written by Michael Anton, who took the job as Director of Policy Planning at the State Department.
Real ones know. Real ones know who Michael Anton is, what Michael Anton is all about. I think probably one of the first times I came across Michael Anton was in maybe 2017, 2018. And he's done a couple of debates with Curtis Yarvin. He's from the Claremont Institute. As soon as I found out that he was joining the State Department, that was where I was like what Colin Ross just did, the mouth agape catfish. When I found out that Michael Anton was joining the State Department.
To write it. Anton served in the first Trump administration. He authored the famous document supporting Donald Trump in 2016 called the Flight 93 election. In that document, Anton posed the essential question about 2016. Would an election of Hillary Clinton lead to the utter destruction of the United States after 8 years of disaster under Barack Obama? His title referenced the patriotism of the passengers on United Flight 93 on September 11, 2001. They seized the plane and flew.
Anton is a guy who has, like one of the debates he had with Yarvin was about Caesar, Red Caesar versus Blue Caesar, and he is definitely he's very romantically attached to the notion of a republic, which is fine. Like, I think America is being Republican, like little R Republican, is this is an American tradition. However American government morphs and transforms going forward, it's going to have much more of a authoritarian executive at its head, but it's still going to maintain its Republican structure in some fashion. But he is a pro Caesar sort of character in a certain way. Kate, R.I.P. to Charlie Kirk. Michael Anton was the one who taught him about Machiavelli. So this is the guy who authored this paper, the one who spent the summer a couple of years ago teaching Charlie Kirk about Machiavelli. Yeah, you can have a republic and still have a Caesar, right? If anything, that's almost perhaps one of the most stable forms of government imaginable. A republic with a Caesar of sorts. So you have the sort of like you have a form of representative democracy with a powerful authoritarian leader that where both of them are sort of in tension with one another. You almost might call it sort of like a CEO and board sort of relationship.
On September,
and then you have like voting shares and non-voting shares, sort of like a corporate structure, kind of.
11, 2001. They seized the plane and flew to certain death, knowing that they were thwarting an attack on our nation's capital. Our national defense depends on the willingness of our soldiers to fight and die for this country, if called upon, and of our citizens to engage in great national missions benefiting everyone. No one but those afflicted with a mental disease called TDS would want to fight and die for Hillary Clinton or the policies that she, Barack Obama, and the World Economic Forum foisted on our nation, and which Donald Trump has now ended. So I hope you see why this document seems to me to be an early Christmas present from the President of Peace. But it will be opposed violently by the enemies of our country, foreign and domestic. That includes the Wood Party and globalist factions of both the Congress and our intelligence agencies. This is the real fight about the midterms and the deep state. And we here at Promethean Action have a huge educational job to do starting right now. Download and read the whole document. And please provide as much financial support as you can to help us expand to meet this moment. I'll see you again on Monday.
Thanks for watching. Please take a moment and subscribe to our free newsletter at PrometheanAction.com.
PrometheanAction.com. Make sure you subscribe to them. Support them financially if you can. And please do also remember to tip your streamer. Tips.kingpill.com. All right, here we go. I could have made this into, I could have probably done another 5-hour lab even without the pseudo wave today. So I'm going to try to get through this as quick as I can. There are so many wins that are just pouring in right now. Today I'm going to just focus on this one free speech sort of issue with respect to the EU. But breaking, the U.S. has decided to stop issuing and renewing visas for people who work in fact-checking, content moderation, trust and safety, or related activities like combating misinformation or disinformation. The U.S. now views it as censorship of Americans. So, you might be a nice European woman, but if you are involved at all in this sort of work, you're not going to be allowed in the country. If we were to put together a list of all the new constraints that this administration in 10 months, 11 months has introduced to immigration, it would be a long document. There would be so many different little constraints that they've put. This is death by 1,000 cuts to the immigration program. Derek at Suitable Politics said, I didn't even know that I voted for this until I just got it, and now I understand that I voted for nothing more than I voted for this. Yeah, Living Dead, didn't even know I could vote for this. This is absolutely what I voted for. And then this is what's happening now, really kicking off for the last few hours. The European Commission, which is the unelected executive board of the EU. So they said, today we fined X for non-compliance with transparency obligations under the DSA, the Digital Services Act. We're holding X accountable for deceptive design of its blue checkmark, lack of transparency of its advertising repository, and failure to provide access to public data for researchers. I'm going to play this 40-second video, and then there is a deep irony to this post itself that I'll share with you guys.
Today, the Commission has issued a fine of €120 million to X for breaching the Digital Services Act. This is the first ever fine under the DSA. X has indeed breached its transparency obligation under the DSA. This includes X's blue checkmark. It deceives users. Anyone can pay to obtain the verified status, and X does not meaningfully verify who is behind it. It also...
They're saying it's deceptive, that anybody can buy a blue check. Therefore, people might not be able to trust it. Even though it's public knowledge and widely known that anybody can buy a blue check.
Includes X advertising repository, which does not work properly, and X doesn't provide effective data access for researchers. Today's decision...
Oh, effective data access for researchers, huh? Yes, that is a problem. Isn't that annoying to you, you censorious bastards? Won't just give you the data so you can contort it and twist it to work your psyops?
Has nothing to do with content moderation. It's about transparency provisions for citizens here in the European Union. Today...
Fucking French. Now look at this. Oh, hold on a second. Where did that tweet go? I opened it in a separate tab. So, note this video... I realized as I was watching it that I can't click on the video to pause it. You know why? Watch what happens. Oh, look at that. When I click on the video to pause it, it opens up a link. Well, that's odd. I have to click the pause and play button. Huh. I wonder why that is. Nikita Beers says, the irony of your announcement. This is quote tweeting that tweet from the European Commission. You logged into your dormant ad account to take advantage of an exploit in our ad composer, to post a link that deceives users into thinking it's a video and to artificially increase its reach. As you may be aware, X believes everyone should have an equal voice on our platform. However, it seems you believe that the rules should not apply to your account. Your ad account has been terminated. So in their video, in their post, announcing that they're fining X for non-compliance with transparency obligations, they misused the ad account that they had not been using before to try to artificially game the system to increase the reach of their own tweet. And they got their ad account deleted. Europors just keep getting BTFO'd. So Tel Aviv Ted here says, the European Commission's $140 million fine on X is an abomination. It's an attack on a great American job creator, and it's an attack on the free speech of every American. Trump should impose sanctions until this travesty is reversed. We're going to sanction Europe, boys. And Elon said the EU, quote unquote EU, imposed this crazy fine not just on X, but also on me personally. So they didn't just fine X, they fined Elon directly, personally. He says, therefore, it would seem appropriate to apply our response not just to the EU, but also to the individuals who took this action against me. Isn't it fascinating that this is happening right after the United States released Trump's new national security strategy, explicitly talking about how they see it as the responsibility of the federal government to protect American countries, particularly with respect to Europe and their censorship. And here we go. We're going to get this, this is going to be challenged directly. So check this out. J.D. Vance said rumors swirling that the EU Commission will fine X hundreds of millions of dollars for not engaging in censorship. The EU should be supporting free speech, not attacking American companies over garbage. And Preston Byrne here, who's an interesting guy I've followed for a while, a pretty active lawyer, senior fellow at ASI, he says the Granite Act would allow X to sue the European Commission in U.S. federal court for 3 times this amount and get injunctive relief against the Commission's orders. Congress should enact it ASAP to head off this European censorship attempt. Well, what is the Granite Act? Here is the full text of the Granite Act that was posted originally November 19th, 2025 by Preston Byrne. The Wyoming Granite Act, the first foreign censorship shield bill ever conceived in the history of the United States, was filed for numbering in the state of Wyoming today by Representative Daniel Singh. I've managed through my global network of spies to obtain a copy of the bill in its current draft form. The proposed laws derived from this proposal I wrote a month ago after being prompted by Representatives Keith Ammon and Kevin Bollier in New Hampshire, who are working to introduce the Granite Act in the Granite State. Exactly 1 month and 1 day after putting this proposal down in a blog post, a bill inspired by that post has been filed in a state legislature. Again, this was written November 19th. There's been some updates. I'll get to those in just a second. So 1 state down, 49 to go. I call this law the pro-free speech Death Star because of the following provisions. The law shields Wyoming companies, individuals, and servers from foreign censorship. In case you don't know, Wyoming is a very favorable state to incorporate. So there's a ton of different companies that are incorporated out of Wyoming because of their privacy and taxation laws with respect to companies that are formed in Wyoming. The law prohibits Wyoming state entities from collaborating with foreign censorship orders. This has been a problem in the past at the federal level. The Biden administration served German censorship orders under the NetzDG to American citizens. Yes, that's right. The Biden administration served German censorship orders to American citizens. Just the most treasonous administration we've ever seen. The law contemplates a carve-out at the federal level from the Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act that would give American trial lawyers a damages turbo laser, the greater of treble actual damages, so 3 times the actual damages. So in this case, if it's a $140 million fine, it would be the greater of 3 times that, so $420 million. So it would be the greater of treble to actual damages or $10 million adjusted for inflation per threat communicated to a Wyoming victim, or 3x the quantity of any threatened fine that can be recovered jointly and severally in a civil action against a foreign sovereign, a foreign censorship agency, and anyone who works for those agencies to carry out foreign censorship targeting a Wyoming CITES victim. Now you might say, well, how is a U.S. federal court going to collect in a civil action against a foreign sovereign or a foreign censorship agency? Well, if you have the backing of the federal government, then this can be escalated to a diplomatic issue where the U.S. federal government is going to sanction, a foreign country unless that foreign country either pays out or leans on their foreign business or whatever that might be doing it to back down. So in 4chan's case, for example, 6 letters, 6 threats would be $60 million in damages. In Meta's case, a threat to impose a 10% global revenue fine, which would be $16.4 billion. So you triple that, you're looking at $49.2 billion damages claim against the UK sovereign itself. The UK has $47 billion in sovereign assets in custody at American banks that a US court could reach and seize to satisfy any judgment. Those assets must remain in the United States, otherwise FX markets for the UK's currency, the pound sterling, will seize up and the UK economy will be severely disrupted. So there is absolutely teeth to this. If enacted, the shield would be fully effective without the FSIA carve-out. The turbo laser, to be fully operational and have maximum deterrent effect, needs Congress. The ball is now in Congress's court. I'm optimistic that the states moving off the plate here will prompt federal action. The bill has a long way to go until it becomes a law. It's got to make it through legislative services, then to committee, then get introduced on the floor for a vote. But the important thing is the journey of this concept, the idea of a foreign censorship shield law, which also creates a civil cause of action against foreign censors, into law, has begun. For the first time, state legislators are moving to implement rules that will allow U.S. citizens to strike back hard against foreign countries that want to interfere with American civil rights online. If we get corresponding federal action, this law and laws like it could represent the single greatest victory for global free speech in 30 years. Even without federal action, state-level laws like this would provide significant relief to American companies looking for protection from foreign censorship regimes. In either case, laws like this could deliver a near-fatal wound to the global censorship industrial apparatus that it would not be able to recover from for decades. By eliminating a tool that the global pro-censorship movement has increasingly relied upon over the last 10 years to try to censor Americans, foreign coercive state power. Many thanks to Colin Crossman, Representative Singh, and a handful of other contributors for taking my version point 1 and turning it into an absolutely outstanding law reform proposal, one that would be an excellent model for any other state in our great nation. And then there's a copy of the actual text of the Wyoming Granite Act here. Now, so this, again, was posted November 19th. Update as of December 4, my birthday, a couple days ago. This is version 3 of the Wyoming Granite Act. We are currently on version 7, with updates to, for example, include intergovernmental organizations like the European Union, in addition to foreign states. I expect the final bill to be posted on the Wyoming legislature's website within a few weeks, although this may move around a bit more depending on what happens with an expected federal bill. A New Hampshire bill is also advancing in tandem, and reportedly, the U.S. House of Representatives is also working on its own Granite Act. So, for more on that, listen to this. This here is Sarah Rogers. She is a member of the U.S. State Department, and she was asked recently, so there's this, the E-Safety Commission in Australia. The U.S. government says the Granite Act is before the U.S. House of Representatives.
Add one more thing on the Online Safety Act, and I emphasized this earlier, but I want to say it again. It's misguided and unfortunate to apply that law in Britain, but applying that law extraterritorially, which means applying it to speech that has nothing to do with Britain, does not occur in Britain, is on American platforms by American users on American political issues, purporting to censor Americans in America is a deal breaker. It is a non-starter. It is a red line. And that's what Ofcom has tried to do.
A deal breaker, a non-starter, a red line.
The Online Safety Act, and that's one reason the American government is concerned.
Okay, but will your government then take legal action against Ofcom if they try and overreach in the way you've described?
Well, there's already formal action proposed. There is a bill before the House called the Granite Act that would amend an existing statute to clarify that as a matter of American public policy, any penalties imposed by Ofcom are unenforceable against American companies. So our legislature will likely consider that, and will certainly consider other options if indeed the British government insists upon trying to nullify the First Amendment on American soil with respect to American companies.
So this was the first time that we learned that this Granite Act is actually before the House of Representatives, and they're considering it. So Preston Byrne, again, the guy who wrote the original proposal on this, said if the feds enact anything like the Wyoming version of the Granite Act, eSafety's power to touch U.S. companies will be permanently destroyed.
Add one more
And
thing
then,
on the online.
He says here, holy shit, U.S. government official says the Granite Act is before the U.S. House of Representatives. Repeat, the U.S. House is considering the Granite Act Foreign Censorship Shield Law. And Free Speech Union of Australia said, so Australians understand this. If it passes, it will make the eSafety inoperable. They won't be able to fine U.S. tech companies anymore. And he says, correct, if Granite, as proposed in Wyoming, is adopted federally, all foreign censorship laws that attempt to control Americans in America die instantly, for good. You guys made America mad. That was a mistake. And that woman, Sarah Rogers, that I just showed you, here's another video from her. J.D. Vance had his tweet that I read a minute ago, and this guy, Helmut Brandstatter, member of the European Parliament, says, a message to Piggyland, there is no censorship in Europe and everybody has to follow our rules. Trump fights the free press suing newspapers and TV stations, so leave us alone. He says that to the vice president. This is what Sarah Rogers has to say. This is her official title is the Undersecretary for Public Diplomacy at the State Department. She says, I'm traveling in Europe on a diplomatic passport, so I thought I'd take this opportunity to say a few things that ordinary Europeans and Brits can't.
I got off my European train and checked into my European hotel and noticed that a member of European Parliament called Helmut Brandstatter tweeted, quote, there's no censorship in Europe. Everyone has to follow our rules. Well, I'm traveling here on a diplomatic passport, so I thought I'd take this opportunity to say a few things that ordinary Europeans can't by revisiting some remarks for which people in Europe and also the UK have been investigated or arrested or jailed by their governments over the past few years. So, as I tweeted a few moments ago, a German woman notoriously received a harsher jail sentence than a convicted rapist after the woman called the rapist, quote, a disgraceful pig. This was after he participated, along with several other disgraceful pigs, in the gang rape of a 15-year-old girl in a public park. Similarly, a British woman was dragged out of her bath by 11 police officers after she referred in a private text message to a man who allegedly violently assaulted her as, quote, a faggot. And victims of violent crime aren't the only people who lack free speech rights in Europe. In Sweden, an activist called Rasmus Paludan was jailed after he burned a Quran and referred to Islam as gay Islam. Finally,
gay Islam!
In Germany, a man faced a criminal investigation for referring to Green Party leader Ricarda Lang as, quote, fat. There are many more. I could go on. But it's important to note that the European censorship bureaucracy often postures as populist, fighting against big tech. Yet none of the people I listed as a large tech company. These are ordinary Europeans and one Brit who were punished by their governments for saying what they thought was true, or just what they felt like saying. In a free society, that shouldn't happen. So, which is it, Mr. Brandstatter? Is there no censorship in Europe, or do we all have to follow your rules?
Miss Sarah B. Rogers, I apologize. I was not aware of your game. I'd never even heard of Miss Sarah B. Rogers until these last two videos that I just saw today. I don't know how to live in this world where the U.S. State Department is suddenly based and an asset to us. Marco Rubio, sir, I'm still very skeptical of you, but I gotta say, you have assembled a frickin' team. Michael Anton, Sarah B. Rogers, Darren Beatty. This is the U.S. State Department, man. The U.S. State Department is full of our guys now. The Foytriot. Yeah, Agitprop Master, these ice queens are the ideal state agents. We got the Karens on our side now, boys. Now Europe is going to get Karened to death. Kate said, we can absolutely destroy these people economically. The fact that these people have the absolute gall to do this to us is absolutely laughable. These people are utterly evil and retarded. So true. So true, Kate. All right, you guys, someone needs to bust out the bonks in the chat because you guys are getting out of control here. Talk foreign policy with me, miss. She has a very interesting, her diction is very interesting. She seems like she's been trained, had like formal training on like speech and pronunciation and stuff. She's very precise in her diction. We need an A10 bonk hog strafing run in this chat. An A10 bonk hog. Oh, you guys are great. Okay, now it is now time for us to pseudolabe. So before we do that, let me end this recording. I'm going to start a new one, and I'm going to take a quick leak real quick. I'll upload these separately, so you could just listen to the pseudolabe is not going to be uploaded to the podcatchers or to YouTube. It will absolutely get taken down. So if you want to watch that, if you want to watch the replay of that, the place to do that is on the King Pilled Substack. Just look for King Pilled on Substack. It's free to subscribe. It'll be free to watch. You can, if you want to support the show that way, you can. I think it's $7 a month. Gives you the ability to comment, and that's just another way that you can support the show. But I am going to give you guys a little bit of. Let me make sure I end the recording here. So to those of you who are listening on the podcast and everything else, thank you for listening. I appreciate you. I'll be back on Monday with another episode of The Labe. Make sure you catch that, and you'll get the update on Cooper, and I'll show you guys this Trump calendar that my wife bought me for my birthday. But I'm going to end the recording here now, and then I'm going to give you guys a little bit of an EWBSX intermission before we get started with the great and glorious pseudolabe.